like that, and I'm gonna be like, I know. I mean, thank you. My bad. Thank you,
But
girl.
that's crazy that y'all brought that up, because I think a lot of people, when we're looking for validation within ourselves, or women want to be heard.
For real.
The most I've ever felt heard is when I was the quietest. That's the most. And when Zane was saying, you know, as a friend, if you're doing something wrong, yeah, your friends should correct you, but that doesn't mean it's going to change overnight. I know we have had a many of conversations. You be like, girl, put peanut butter in your mouth. I said, y'all, I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to do better. But let me show you what validation looks like and being heard. It was at the quietest moment. This just happened the other morning. I was like, wow, because y'all been saying, Barbie, we see you growing, girl, you growing. I'm like, I don't even know what they talking about. What are they talking about? But when Free started talking about reconditioning your mind, really, you can really see it. The other morning we were standing in the kitchen and it was some going crazy with our schedules. Like Stoney was like, I got a party DJ, I'm trying to set the pool, and he was like, so he gave me the plan. He said, well, I'm gonna call Trey and I'm gonna and then I'm gonna do this at this time and I'm gonna do this. Now my mind immediately went into rethinking a better way for this schedule to happen. Although there was nothing wrong with the schedule, before he could even finish, I started rethinking about, well, how could I do it? Like I could do it this way. And then I said, stop. And he was like, huh? What you mean? And I was like, no, I'm telling myself to stop. And so he was like, what you mean stop? What you doing? Because he thought I had lost my mind. I was sitting up here talking to myself, making coffee. And so I told him, I said, I have a bad habit of, and I said, and this comes with lack of trust. And it shouldn't be the way. I said, but every time you tell me something, I feel the need to rethink that and come up with what I think is better. And I said, it's not necessary.
Come on here.
And so he was like,
hey, I see the growth.
Like, yeah. And so that was the most I ever felt hurt. And it didn't come from me screaming and saying, well, my schedule's better. We need to do it this way. It came from me realizing that I don't need to rethink what this man just said. He said it. I said, baby, you said it. That's what we about to do today. Okay.
And hold on. Wait, don't move on. Don't move. Okay, we gotta take a moment. We gotta take a moment and celebrate our friend. I am so proud of you.
I am. And this is
so proud of you.
If you knew.
If you only knew.
That is definitely celebrated. And
I am so proud of you.
And I was gonna say, and he felt good. Breath.
Yes.
And he breathed that. That's that breathed breath of life in you.
And I saw his face like,
hey.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that made me feel, I thought validation was going to come into him confirming what I said. That's what I thought validation was going to look like for me. For him to agree with what I'm saying. And it didn't look like that. It looked like me turning my mind off. It gave me a mental break because it was so unnecessary. The schedule that he came with was fine. It worked out. Everything worked out. And I was like, wow, you need to do this more. You need to let him lead. He's leading. He's fine. You don't have to do it. And I was just sitting back getting ate up by mosquitoes yesterday.
How would you have handled that in the past, though?
In the past, before he even just to be completely honest.
For real.
I would have made him feel, before he even finished the statement, I would have made him feel like his schedule was wrong. So by doing that, I would have said, well, hold on, let me think about that. And I would have undermined him immediately and said, just to make sure that what he said, I don't even know what he said. I just would have known in my head that it was going to be wrong and it wasn't going to work out. So I can do something better. So I would have said, hold on, babe. Hold on, Stoney. I don't ever call Stoney. Hold on, babe. Let me think about that. And then let me see what else I got for the rest of the day. Although I have nothing. I had nothing to do. Wow. Although I have nothing. So I would have undermined it so he would feel unsure about what he said. So that would give me time to think about what actually I think needs to happen. And then I will come back and sound more confident in another schedule. And it could have been the exact same schedule that he said, but the way I say it is going to sound more confident.
It sound more confident.
And that
Let me tell y'all. Oh my God. Okay, so this is the difference between somebody who don't have God because there's nobody there to help. That's that changing agent. God said, well, some plant, some water, and God have the increase.
Mm-hmm.
The seed was planted. Somewhere along the line, it got water that you're growing. And then God added that increase. He said, okay, let me let that little bud pop through. Let me let that little plant say, ooh, because you was under the dirt. It's like, okay, I'm under the dirt. I'm under the dirt. I'm trying to get up. My seed done popped open. That's pain. Now the roots trying to catch hold to something nutritious. I don't trust this feeling. I don't trust this surrounding, this environment. So I'm gonna be loud.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, okay, I could go a better way with this. Then all of a sudden, God says, no, let me add a little increase. Let me add a little nutrients and nourishment. And then next thing you know, that little thing said, boop, and you popped up. And you know, if anybody knows about plants, I'm learning. When that little bud pop up, when you see that little greenery pop up for the first time, it's something about it. You get so excited. And when you can
see the hope.
You can see the hope. You can see the hope. So when you said, he looked at you like,
that was like,
that little greenery popped up on him. He was like,
okay, that's exactly what I'm saying.
That's the difference, y'all. I don't care what nobody say. Other than that, you're going to hold on to your perspective to the day you die. Yeah. You're going to say, this is how this thing's supposed to go. My mama told me, never let a man do, or my daddy always, and you'll never let go of that perspective. There'll never be an added increase. And I love that. So yes, babe, we celebrate you today.
Yes.
Yes. Today. That's what a girl really wants. She want to pop up. She want to go.
She wanted to look different, but it's going to come differently. It's not going to come the same way.
Right.
You kept saying it didn't look like, for me, what I thought it was. And that's the problem. What we said about that mentality, we think it's going to look this way, and that's going to be the best way. But I love that. And now you gave this man the respect that God told you to give him.
Yep.
Now you gave this man some, okay, she really is trusting me now. I'm going to get on top of this.
Yep.
Girls want respect from these men. Women want respect. Girls don't care. But women want respect. But at the same time, we're not willing sometimes, not all of us, to change how we do things to get it. So we stay in an infinity cycle loop, that figure eight for the rest of our lives. But what you just did, you just broke that loop. And you said, nah.
And to all my ladies that's like me, because I think what we're scared of is, it's not a woman that, who I used to be. Come on now. Is not afraid to lose a man. That's never the issue.
Right.
You're always afraid to look weak.
Or
to be vulnerable. Put in a position where you feel like you have no choice.
No,
and I can tell you, I did not feel weak at all. And I thought I was, because I was like, oh, if I give, it's just this little thing. And like what you said, your mom told you, don't let no man do this. And that's what I've heard my entire life. But I was like, oh, I'm going to feel weak. I don't want to be put in a position to where I can't, I don't ever but I was not. That's why it's important to marry somebody that you have prayed for. Or that has prayed for you. Like, y'all have to be equally yoked. Y'all have to be, because I don't think this was gonna work.
Right.
I don't think this could have worked with any other man other than my husband, because he got to have a lot of patience. Because when I tell you, it's such a manipulative spirit that even the way I just broke it down to you, Free, like that is organized manipulation. The fact that I know what lines, I know when he say this, I'm going to say this to tear down what he didn't even finish, because I want him to lack confidence in what he has to say. So when I say it, I'm going to say it more confidently so he can believe it. So therefore we can do it. So he can hear my voice and I can get my way.
Wow.
And it's just plain and simple. That's organized manipulation. That's a lot of brain work. Like, that's a lot of brain work. And to live the rest of your life like that.
And you can't teach nobody else. Like what you just said, you spoke against who you were. You would never be able to teach anybody, hey, that's organized manipulation. That's somebody like me with the mind that's always working, that's always like on top of what I want, and this is how I'm gonna get it type stuff. So for you to come out of your mouth and say, I was an organized manipulator, and I used my mind against my husband to get what I wanted, so I could look confident, so I could feel heard, so I could feel valued, seen, all of the stuff we say that girls want. And a lot of this stuff, let me tell you why I titled it What Girls Really Want. Because a lot of the times as women, we're still fighting for things that we wanted when we were little girls that got us to be the way we are today. We are the way we are today because that little girl is still not satisfied.
She's still screaming out.
She's still screaming.